I, 38 female, have a tween son, Max, and a young grammar school-aged daughter, Olivia, with my ex-husband, Dan, 35 male. Max has severe autism and requires a lot of care. I remarried 3 years ago and my husband Luke is incredible. My ex, Dan, has them 6 hours weekly. This week, this was on Tuesday as I was away for a funeral. Dan took the day off work to be with them in the morning and evening. Ex and his girlfriend Sophie picked them up as planned at 11 AM. My husband took this time to play golf with my brother. They finished the game at 4 PM and the golf is 30 minutes from our house. I got a call at 5 PM from Sophie screaming about me abandoning my kids. I was confused and eventually realised Luke wasn't home yet, so I told her where the spare key was so they could wait for Luke to come home inside. Unfortunately, Luke's car had gone kaboom on the motorway and he was in a complete coverage dead zone. He was able to call emergency services but nothing else would connect. When the police arrived, the first thing he did was ask if someone could contact Dan to tell him what happened. Sophie was already on the phone with the police to report my husband and me for child abandonment. They said one of us should have been there and my ex doesn't feel safe inside our home. So they've left the kids inside our home and that the police needed to go and save our kids and arrest us. The police person speaking to them told them multiple times to turn around and that they were the ones who had abandoned them. This whole time I'm getting messages from Dan saying how this was unfair on him and Sophie and that I'm a terrible parent for leaving them with someone who doesn't give a crap about our kids. At this point I didn't know what was happening. I only knew that Luke wasn't home but Dan had found the spare key. At no point did he tell me that they'd left the kids alone. Luke got hold of me via the police and I arranged for a friend to go around there as soon as she could, but the police already had a unit there after the call with Sophie. After this, I decided to get his 6 hours a week taken away. I've given him so much leeway over the years and this was my limit. Our son is dependent on an adult and our daughter is very young, and the only thing he would say to defend himself is, well, I kept up my side of the agreement by bringing them back after 6 hours. This has caused another crap storm, to the point where Sophie sent me messages that the police are now investigating. Dan hinted he would try to get the kids taken care of because my husband abandoned them. Multiple people asked me why I was staying with someone who abandoned my children. His parents have threatened to try and gain custody of the children, saying the children need a stable family unit and calling my husband abusive. I said screw this and put the whole story, with evidence, on my private Facebook page, and people quickly understood. But now I'm being branded a drama queen and an idiot for publicly blasting the father of my children, putting my husband over my kids. I don't understand how he's more of a father to them than Dan is. I feel like I've taken crazy pills. Am I the idiot? Edit, I worded it badly in the post. Sophie sent me messages and the police are now investigating those messages. They said some horrendous stuff about my kids and even worse stuff about me. Hopefully it's enough for me to prevent her from ever being near kids again. I'm speaking to an officer on Monday. Not the idiot. Wow, I'm glad your kids are okay. Sophie seems smug about the fact that the police are investigating, but she should realise that she and Dan are the ones they're investigating. Your ex and his wife are pieces of crap, and they pulled this BS on purpose to get you and Luke into trouble. Dan has a very strange idea of his obligations toward his children. The police will not go after a responsible adult with car trouble that prevented him from receiving his children after visitation. Your ex's girlfriend abandoned the kids, as the police already stated. Take your ex to court to get his visitation taken away. He doesn't care about his kids' well-being enough. 6 hours a week? What kind of father can't take his kids for more than 6 hours a week? Not even a full day. Screw him. You keep up with the Facebook posts. Ex needs to be put in the spotlight. I think you have more than enough to terminate his custody. He wasn't even with the kids all day. His girlfriend was. Jesus, Sophie is as dumb as a pile of rocks. I think they're both in for a shock when they realise if anybody is being investigated for child abandonment, it's the dumb Sophie. It sounds like they both share a brain cell, and not a very good one. Your husband, Luke, sounds amazing. Good luck. My husband and I, female 39, male 41, have been trying for a baby for 5 years now. I admit that our intimate life suffered for the purpose of conceiving. I might add that my husband wants children as much as I do, but apparently the mechanical way we had intimacy scarred him, so he cheated on me with a friend of ours. I found out because his sister found out and refused to cover up for him. He said he was sorry and cried and loved me. For some sick reason, I believe him, but I couldn't stay in the marriage. When we separated, I found out that I was pregnant. I contemplated ending it, but I just couldn't because I lost everything, including my marriage for this baby, plus I already was in love with them. My husband freaked out when he heard, and he begged me to forgive him and take him back, but I couldn't. When I had my scan, I didn't tell him and he was very distraught, saying he wanted to be there. Now he was beside himself when I told him I didn't want him to be in the delivery room with me. He was shocked and he literally started crying over the phone. Why does he think he can be there? He's not my husband anymore. I don't even feel comfortable in my underwear around him now. My mom said I'm an idiot and I was hoping she would be with me, but she said to forget it because she's not enabling my behavior. So I guess I don't need anyone there. It's just going to be the doctor and nurse because my mom declined. Am I the idiot for not wanting my soon-to-be ex in the delivery room? Not the idiot. It's a time when you're very vulnerable. Only people you're comfortable with should be there, even if it's just the doctor and nurses. Once you're put back together and dressed or comfortable in the bed, I think it would be fair to let him see the baby or let the nurse take the baby to him for a bit if you just don't want him near you. But he lost the right to cut the umbilical cord when he went and cheated on you. OP, hire a doula so you have someone focused on supporting you. She can gatekeep the ex for you and advocate on your behalf if you need it. My doula was a lifesaver. My husband was also in the room, but having someone who specializes in supporting birthing mothers and experienced childbirth made my birth story the positive story it is today. The only reason he's sorry now is because OP's pregnant. Also, imagine if OP said, "Oopsie, I slept with someone else because all these failed efforts trying to get pregnant by you seemed hopeless and depressing," to this guy. He would have lost his crap and dropped her in an instant. OP, you're a queen. I have nothing but respect for the way you've handled things. Find a lawyer sooner than later to get ahead of custody-related issues. I promise your ex will attempt to make your life a living nightmare as revenge for shutting him out and dropping his cheating idiot. You may also want to stop looping your mom in on any pregnancy and labour-related info. I suspect your ex will be at the hospital if you don't. 4 months ago, my husband's dog was hit by a truck. She's now an assist dog, like she can't go up and down stairs without being carried and can barely walk unguided. She had most of her hind leg amputated. They say she'll likely never gain mobility in her back end, and my husband isn't willing to spend money on PT for her. When she was hit by the truck, I was 5 months pregnant. I'm literally due any day now. 2 months ago, I told him I couldn't do this anymore. The amount of pain I was in from lugging his 40-plus pound dog up and down 3 flights of stairs multiple times a day or holding her up to use the bathroom was excruciating. All the bending and lifting was causing my sciatic nerve to send twangs through my entire back, butt and legs. I also resent the dog severely because of this, even though I know it's not the dog's fault. It still didn't change the fact that I grew resentful. Honestly, the fact that he would spend hours with his dog when he got home, asking her how she was and laying on the floor with her without even so much as speaking to me, or asking how I was, definitely added to it. So I told him I wasn't doing this anymore and I decided to leave. I never told him he had to get rid of her, I never even mentioned it. I said I was taking myself out of the equation because I was done with it. He begged me not to go and said he would get rid of the dog because he couldn't be at home to take care of her, and that I was right and that this wasn't fair to me because of how much pain I was in, and even apologised for selfishly expecting me to do all the heavy lifting because he leaves at 5 AM and doesn't come home till 5 to 8 PM, depending on whether or not he hangs out with his friends after, so I do all dog duties. He starts searching for a family member or family friend to take his dog at least temporarily, but he stopped searching at least 3 weeks ago and started ignoring his mom's phone calls, who found someone to take the dog. Yesterday, I asked him when he was getting rid of his dog like he promised, and he said he couldn't bring himself to do it. Which, I get that, but I'm still not willing to put up with this crap. I have a kid due any day, and I won't be lugging this animal around when I should be healing. So I told him that my daughter and I were leaving, despite her not being physically here yet. He's trying every guilt trip in the book, including shaming me to make me feel unreasonable and heartless. I can't tell if I'm wrong and if this is hormones, but I can't do this anymore regardless. Edit, he's not willing to pay anyone to watch the dog because you're home anyway. So no, he's unwilling to make any compromises regardless of how bad he claims he feels for pushing off all the heavy lifting on me. Jesus, that's brutal. To start, you're not an idiot. Carrying a 40-pound dog up and down stairs while full-term preggo is dangerous. Does your doctor know you're doing this? You will lose your crap taking care of a baby and a disabled dog. He's not willing to pay anyone to watch the dog. Then he can get Ben. Who does this guy think he is? I wish you the best, especially with your daughter's arrival soon. This poor dog has zero quality of life. He's not thinking of the dog. He's only thinking of himself. You are in no condition to be schlepping this dog up and down the stairs, and will definitely not be in any condition to do so after your child's birth. For your own health, you should leave now before the baby is born. He's already indicated where his priorities are at this point. OP, leave temporarily and see what he does with his dog. The reason he's bending is because he knows you're there to do the work anyway, despite all your complaining. From how you worded it, he won't even be much of a help in caring for your child. Stay with a parent, a sibling, or a friend. Your focus should be on the birth of your daughter, not taking care of a man-child with a disabled pet he couldn't take care of. My 32 male ex-wife Melanie, 33, divorced a year ago. She had a toddler when we met and I got to be her stepdad for 5 years while we were married. Unfortunately, Melanie experiences mania and delusions of grandeur. She managed these for 3 years and then refused all treatment, which led to our divorce. I tried to make it work because I loved her and, of course, for her little girl. She's now remarried to Andrew, mid-30s. We have all remained amicable. She invited me to school events and our daughter's birthday party this year. We're all friends on social media. A week or so ago, I noticed that she was posting on social media excessively, and it seemed like all she wanted to do was stir up people's emotions. She was making posts essentially slandering religion, stay-at-home dads, public schools, things that started debates in her comments. The day before yesterday, she posted several items and asked people to debate with her on various subjects. Anyone who did was simply called a moron. She's tagged local pastors, asking them to debate her on stage, and has asked public school teachers to have debates with her. It's an antagonistic mess and hard to watch. I recognise this pattern of behaviour. I contacted Andrew privately and wrote, "Hey, I'm worried about Melanie. If you haven't already, you may want to talk with her about getting some help before she offends everyone she knows and is left with no outside social support. It's happened before. She might listen to you." A day later, I almost regret reaching out. First, Andrew berated me, calling me an idiot for saying he didn't know how to care for his wife. Then Melanie. I won't even repeat what she's been saying. She posted a screenshot of my message to Andrew and has been on a tirade all day, accusing me of violating her privacy rights, digging up old dirt, you name it. According to both of them, I'm a moron and an idiot. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Divorced after refusing to maintain mental health treatment and remarried within a year is so beyond just a red flag for everything that I can't be surprised at the response. Her new husband might not like you chiming in, but someone has to say something. This. Andrew has only been dating her for a year and is already married. In a year, knowing your partner very well is impossible because everything is fuzzy and blinded by the infatuation of the beginning. He may not be able to see things as they are and overestimates his capacity to deal with her crisis. I'm primarily worried about the little daughter. She's just in the middle of the fire, which will be horrible for her mental health. She actually did you a favour by posting a screenshot of your message. She basically told the world, "My ex-husband divorced me because I acted crazy and refused to get help. He's now trying to get help for me again, and instead of accepting it, I will continue acting crazy." OP, rest assured, you did the right thing. Either Andrew's ego is too inflated right now to accept your help, or he's misdirecting his anger. I bet his tune will change if she gets as bad as you say. You gave bro a heads up and it's all you can do. For now, keep silent and keep watch, if only for the child. This is the case where time will tell, and rather soon, I'm afraid. I lived in an apartment for rent whose owner was the father of a friend who died, and this friend became the owner. He and I are close, almost 10 years, and we basically have the same circle of friends. We never had problems with payments and readjustments, and in those 6 years that I lived there, I think I was a good tenant. Well, recently my wife, who was pregnant, had an emergency C-section, and we had our baby girl at just 7 months pregnant. The surgery was extremely difficult and had several complications. My wife was hospitalized for 15 days, and our girl is still in the ICU NEO. 5 days before the C-section happened, my friend called me and we talked. He said he wanted to renovate and sell the house, So he asked us to vacate and gave us 30 days notice. Yeah, super short but legal. He even sent an extrajudicial notice of eviction. All these unforeseen events happened and I really forgot about it. I only remembered almost 10 days later and wanted to talk heart to heart. I said that I was almost always at the hospital with my daughter or my wife, and I just wouldn't make it in time or have the peace to look for houses, move, and simultaneously deal with my personal life. Anyway, I asked if he could extend that time to another month so we could do it calmly. To my surprise and out of the blue he said, "I'm sorry, but I won't increase the time. You're my friend, but business is business and you have 15 days to move." Me? Oh, I didn't expect this insensitivity and cruelty from you. I had to ask my friends for help. My parents and I live in another country, and we managed to find a house and move in 3 days before the time. I didn't need to say much about why because most of them knew that he'd asked me to move, but everyone was in shock to hear that I'd asked, but he still wanted to go ahead. Almost everyone cut contact with him. He recently called me saying that I made him the monster of the situation when he's just minding his business and that I washed the dirty crap with our friends. He told me to grow up and wake up to the reality that business is business. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. He made his choice to put his finances ahead of your comfort. It's his right to do so, but it's also his consequence that some people value community more than money. You did nothing to him. He's reaping what he has sown. Business is business after all. Business is business indeed, but as your friend he could have been a lot more lenient on you during a difficult situation. I don't know what he expected the outcome to be, giving a couple with a premature child just a month to find somewhere else to live. The fact that the rest of your friends are siding with you says a lot. Your landlord friend is only lashing out because he genuinely didn't expect this kind of backlash and was only thinking of himself and the profits that he could make. He's the one who has to grow up and face the harsh reality.